So today I'm going to give you a tour of my classroom. This is my classroom from 2016 to 2017. This is a quick overview of what you'll see from my desk, and we're going to start on the corkboard wall. So this whole wall I actually had trouble with. I didn't know what to do with it. As a new teacher, I was just given this giant wall of corkboard. I didn't have just a regular board, where you can post backgrounds, things like that. So I actually ended up making my own. So these borders I made myself. I used printer paper, just plain white printer paper, and then some construction paper, and I just glued them on in a mosaic pattern. On the back, we have different colors of paper. We have red, blue, and green. So my school actually did not give these to any teachers. We weren't allowed to have any paper like this from the ASB room. So we had to go out and get our own. Luckily for me, I had a student. Her mom worked at a school as well, and they obviously gave their teachers some paper, so I got some from that student. So she was a really big help. Now, all of the stuff inside is just my kids' art. So we had a lot of projects that involved art. So we had, whenever there was a sub, basically, there was a writing project and they had to do a cover of a book. There's a lot of stuff from my ELD kids. I did teach ELD, which, if you don't know, it's basically an English as a second language class. I had ELD 1, so I had a lot of newcomers who came into my classroom. They didn't speak any English at all, and that was my class for 2 periods. So we did a lot of art projects for them. They would have to draw things. There were a lot of visuals. They're drawing different things. There are projects there of bodies. They would have to draw themselves, draw their face, draw their body, and then label each part. What is it in English? Things like that. So we had a lot of those. I just put those inside that board. Moving on, we have our recycle bin, our trash can, a lot of projects on the walls. These were our epitaphs, so they had to write something on their gravestone, basically, shouting out to their parents or saying things that, they lived through or whatever. Here's my door. At the top here, we have a lot of awards. So my ESL kids, my English as second language or ELD1 kids, did ABC Mouse to help them learn English. They got awards at the top whenever they passed a level. Here's my little bookshelf full of a lot of ELD little novels and regular novels. A little calendar, and here we have our other corkboard wall. This one also has a dry erase board on it, so it was a little easier. And just put up different projects on the bottom and on the top. On the bottom you have epitaphs, and on the top you have little booklets from the Crucible. They had to basically retell the story in their own words and maybe change something about the story, maybe turn them into vampires or something. It was completely up to them. And then I have a calendar on the board made out of tape. I like to basically write everything on the board so that they know what's going on and I know what's going on. Here are some examples of my favorites for our project. One at the top was a little comic book. Those are the Crucible ones. And then on the side, these are basically where they're supposed to retell a story, telling me the main points, pulling quotes out of the books. That's all they could tell the story in, was with quotes. They had to go back, look through the story, find out what's important. What quote will basically summarize that chapter, things like that. So we did a lot of different things like that through our textbook. And then over here is another door. This one goes to my neighbor teacher. We don't really open that much because she's on the other side teaching as well. Here I call it the bar, so it's just basically a table, or I guess you could put students there, but I didn't because it was a little too high for the chair, so when you'd sit down, the table would be really high. So it's just the bar. We just put binders and things over there. This is my desk. It looks a little cluttered, but it's not, I swear. There's just a lot of things that I like to show off. On the bottom over here, we have some nice little streamers, which I loved. There's another overview of what the classroom looks like from my desk. The tables here and the chairs are all 21st century type of learning materials for them. So I really liked the tables. The different geometric shapes for them were really cool. I put two together, so each one would basically have about 6 students. This is my desk here. I have a lot of stuff here for little decorations. I have a lot of color over here, and as we walk behind, I'll show you different things that we have. So this red little milk crate is full of different things. If we have potlucks, cups, napkins, or someone's eating in my classroom, there's forks, things like that. Got my mini fridge, my little bookshelf that holds all the little knickknacks, and my paper distributor box thing. I keep a lot of decorations up all year round, so you see the trick-or-treat thing. I was nominated for Staff Member of the Month 2 times, so I have those up there. And these little clovers are from the ESL ELD kids. Basically, there was a day, Teacher Appreciation Day, and the ELD kids had to basically write out, who's their favorite teacher and why. It wasn't just for ELD, it was for serve kids, so kids that were having a little trouble. I've got all my thank you notes. I've got some posters up there to tell me where different classrooms are around the school, and then different sporting events. There's more clovers over there. So there's a poster telling us all about the sporting events, what day they are, things like that. And these posters here, the Inside Out posters, I actually got from basically it was an ASB event where they all made everything and then they were posted in the assembly, so I actually got them from the assembly. All the ASB kids made those, are so fun. This is my whiteboard, and it also doubles as a smart board. So you turn the projector on and you can actually draw on the whiteboard with this pen, and it'll be like a digital board type of thing. I got posters up at the top, a little apple thing from Target. The posters I actually got from another teacher who posted them online, basically like positive things that they're posting to tell all the students. We got the Pledge of Allegiance up at the top for my ELD kids who are struggling with English. They could read it, get some more ideas. Another Inside Out character named Anger. The bottom I have my streamers. Surprisingly, these ones lasted all year. I had them on the other side as well where the epitaphs were at the bottom, but they ended up becoming ripped off because all the students walking around hitting them with their jeans and things like that. Got some more epitaphs that were 3D over here, which I think are so fun. And these carts are iPad carts, so there's just iPads inside. Here's some really cool examples of epitaphs. Some kids made some really nice ones that I really loved. 3D version styrofoam, painting those. There's another Inside Out poster. This is again behind my desk. I have my microwave, I have some binders, some iPads leaned up over there. You can see in the back there's that board paper behind if I had a little extra. I had a crate of markers. The kids loved the art things that we did. This is a table that I actually bought on my own. My school didn't provide me with a lot of furniture aside from the student things, so I bought this table and it ended up fitting perfectly. Inside that Tupperware jar bucket thing I had some extra binders, things like that. And this is another bookshelf for the students. If I ever have extra paper, their scratch paper, or things that they would need, they just come up and grab it from there. They wouldn't have to ask me. These are again some more decorations. These are from Halloween. I had a kid actually give me that moose for Christmas as a little present. And this is my name sign. I had this actually made for me from a friend. It hangs up, but I didn't want to put it on the wall because that would end up having to put basically nails or something into the wall, and I wasn't really comfortable with that as a first-year teacher, so I just put it on my whiteboard just in the little tray. Again, these are the epitaphs, so this is on the bottom of the wall in the back. Under the whiteboard. So these are just different student examples. They could do them in any sizes that they wanted. I told them to basically do them in a creative way. So I had kids like drawing some that were shaped like crosses, drawing some that one right there is a coffin and it flips open. You could see a little skeleton in there, which I thought was so cool. Some of them basically crinkled them up and made them look like they were old and tattered, which I thought was really cool. Again, above from those epitaphs, you have the calendar, and I also forgot to mention between those epitaphs under the board there were those sexual harassment posters. We had to post them, so couldn't really get out of that. They weren't very cool looking, but I had to find a nice place to put them. These are the Crucible booklets at the top. They had to recreate their books. Some of them ended up burning the paper to make it look really nice and tattered and worn, which I thought was so cool. More booklets over on the side. That poster in the middle was basically our school's pledge type of thing. Again, the comic book right in the middle, the longer one. And again, we have our projects, which were supposed to be like comic book type of things, and some of the kids did so well. Like, I was so proud of them for all of their, effort. You could just see the effort in their projects. There are a few that didn't make it on the wall. I tell my kids if it's good enough to go on the wall, you get 1 point extra credit. And I don't change the walls too often, so I don't give out a ton of extra credit, but if you are going to put in that extra effort, and I can tell, I can see, then you get extra credit and you make it on the wall. I put streamers over on the little window part of the door. I put that on this side and on the other side, but on the other side I only put it on half of the door because that is the door to the hallway where people can walk by. I didn't want it to be completely closed off. And here is an overview again from the back corner of my room. It looks so nice. I was so happy to almost get it finished. So here I have my student portfolios and binders. So I have my ELD kids get their own binders. And from there, they're supposed to put in all their work so you can see their progress. Some more binders. And my regular English classes also had binders, but I had them take them to and from class every day. And we'd grade those every now and then. These little easel boards I got from Target, they were in the dollar section. I think they were $3 though. And I wrote on them with some chalkboard paint, little pens. Wrote on those. This is where they drop off their work. So I usually have a purple bucket, which is right over there. And they drop off their work in there. Again, another overview. So this is my chair, my desk. I don't let students come around my chair, so they usually know that. This is outside of our window. So if you open up the blinds, you can see our school parking lot. And it was really cool to have this view every day. The only thing is in the morning the sun beams in so hard that you have to close the blinds. And then once you open them, the kids get really excited. They'll get out of their seat. They'll all go over around the window. Or something's happening outside. Everyone's all curious. So, you know, it's bittersweet, but I really liked it. Gave in some nice light. Here's another overview. Underneath that Joy poster, I also had this little board that was for work that was missing. We'll go over that a little later. Here are some examples of the book covers. So they had to write their own little story and create a book cover on their own, and some of them were so good. The kids went into such great detail. I love them. These are for my regular English kids. So these are not ELD, but the ones next to it in little circles, those obviously are ELD. So you have different book covers where kids really did so well. Underneath the book cover, you can see their actual story. Here's more book covers. Different examples everywhere, just love them. Then you get over more into the ELD side. This one was for an ELD student who basically drew our entire room and labeled everything, which they did so well. These are also for ELD. We are watching the Billy Goat's Gruff, doing different things like that. Dr. Seuss, Finding Dory, Finding Nemo, things like that. They would have to tell me, okay, what happened, you know, write it in English. If you need to translate, you can translate. Then they had to do monsters if they didn't want to do their body. Here's one of my favorite examples of the bodies. Just draw your face and draw your body and then label each one. So we did these on obviously different times. So the students would draw their face first and then we'd mix them all up. They can't put a name on it and you have to try and guess whose face is this. It was such a really fun time. The students really loved that project. Here's more examples from my English classes and then more ESL on the side, naming foods, naming restaurants, things you would bring with you on travel. Here's another poster from the Inside Out, another one from Inside Out, and again I took these from an assembly. All my ASB kids did that. Some epitaphs there, the 3D versions, very fun. They did so well. And this one was actually a project from my theater class. They had to create a stage. Basically, the student did a karaoke theme. There was a Barbie in there, but it just disappeared. There was also a microphone in there, so she did like a karaoke stage. She has the curtain. She has everything that you would need, glow-in-the-dark stars. She even put a battery pack to turn lights on, which is so cool. Again, my streamers, and you can see that the plug there is still exposed, which I love, so you can still plug in any of your iPads or things that were, you know, just needed charging. This is where I write my to-do list for today. I'm telling the kids what we're doing for the day. Usually there's a standard up there, an objective for them to see. And back over to my board where lots of kids tend to draw on the board. I say they can once they leave, so if they're going to another school or whatever the situation, they can draw on my board. Here's my bookshelf again. So this is by the door in the hall. A lot of these books were for my ELD kids, but we did use some for SSR. I had SSR for my kids every Friday. They'd have about 15 minutes to read. And this is my door, basically, where you would enter the classroom. Here's another Inside Out poster over here, and this little tape bar over there was for my after school credit recovery kids. It's my recycle bin. I tell my kids the importance of recycling, so I made some little things on my trash. It's basically a trash can. They didn't have recycling bins. I bought it myself, so I taped some things on there. You can see it gets kind of gross, but they just recycle in there. And this is my board with paper clips. So I made this, I got this from Target, and I basically glued some clothespins on it. And all of these papers on there were for kids who didn't have names on them, so it's like our no-name board. This is an overview from the door once you walk in, my desk in the corner, and then our whiteboard on the side, and then our corkboard over there. This is our bathroom pass, so again, right next to the door. We have a calendar. I got so annoyed with it, so I just stopped using that and put the tape on. And that's basically our classroom. So give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and check out my website, and I'll see you next time. Bye!